Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sales Chatter, the only logistics podcast with the mission of getting 10,000 reps to hit a million GP. I'm your co-host, Ryan Mohammed. With me is my good friend, President and CEO of RGTX Logistics Solutions, Jeff Dickinson. Good morning, brother. How you doing this morning?
Pretty good, my man. It's a little wet out here in New Jersey, but otherwise, doing pretty well. I'm looking forward to our conversation today, so let's do this.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
And there we go. I got to say, yesterday was a great episode with Dean. Always a pleasure to kind of get his knowledge and, just hear about different things.
Yep.
I know for us, you and I, for this week doing prospecting, we've begun getting tons of messages. It's been helping out a lot of people. And, I've been seeing other posts from other people, and it's not direct correlation between us, but people are talking about it. People are not gatekeeping. People are able to talk about the things that works for them, and maybe it'll help somebody else. What are your kind of thoughts? It's been a great week.
Yeah, so far, at the beginning of the week, and I said, sales approaches and prospecting is very subjective. It's so different for everybody that's out there. What we're doing is we're on opposite side of the fence, as you well know, which is a good thing because we can agree to disagree, and that's primarily the case. Something will resonate with someone, I hope, from these episodes that we had this week, and that they benefit from it. That's why we do these crazy things and try to help people, to give them a different option of how to approach prospecting.
100%. And I always kind of feel like, Jeff, there's only so much mindset you can talk about. There's only so much like take action you can talk about. It's like, give me the tools, teach someone actually how to fish, right? Then rather than dangling some fish in their face and be like, hey, look what you can possibly get. And that's why I want to get in today into social selling. Social selling, I would say maybe since COVID has really taken a boost. A lot of people, because they've been at home, people are connecting with people through relationships. And we want to kind of talk about what social selling is. Jeff, there's two ways to think about social selling. There is social selling, obviously, and then there's social media marketing. We're not going to get both confused together. When you go on the LinkedIn, as we're kind of live right now on LinkedIn, social selling is making meaningful connections. It's not just going out and just adding random connections. Well, you could like for what each their own. You can do whatever you want, right? But for me, if I'm being strategic about my prospecting, I look at a company and I add maybe 5 to 7, I would say, key people within the company that would kind of benefit myself as well. Jeff, what is your mentality? As you know, you're a referral kind of guy, but you do the background research, and I assume that you use LinkedIn as well to take a look at the names and see how long they've been there, look at the recommendations, things like that. What are some things that you look at when you kind of look at a company when you're looking at prospecting them?
Well, it's just like anything else, Ryan, that when someone reaches out to you to connect, you want to know who that person is. There's some that you'll want to connect to, and then there's many that you don't want to connect to, because there's no you're not on the same page. They're coming from you from a different area. And it's funny, that you mentioned that, because a lot of them, and I'm not the only one out there, you talk about sales approaches and everything. It's once you connect with these people, lo and behold, it's probably within an hour time, you're getting pitch slapped. I mean, it's like, I get these things. It's really funny. I looked at your profile and you would be great for this franchise. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you get them, but I get them like 2 or 3 times a day. It's like, what the hell gave you the idea that I want to start up?
Unless it's Chick-fil-A where they're making like $36 million a day, then I'm not interested.
I'm just laughing, when we talk about prospecting, I just don't think that's the right way to do that. You're not selling to your friends on LinkedIn. You might create a partnership and tell somebody that, hey, you specialize in this area, where they might not. And since you have that connection, they might throw you a bone and say, and what's really good is that they don't look for anything in return. It's more like offering, maybe I can help you out in this area, instead of doing, a lot of things. It's really funny that there's a lot of companies out there that don't handle specific things that land on their desk. I mean, physically land on their desk, and they're like, you know what? I don't do this kind of stuff, and they push it to the side, and that's where I got like a lot of my parcel auditing and stuff, because we do parcel auditing, and it's like, how many logistics people out there do parcel auditing? They're not. They're in that truckload, reefer, flatbed, expedited. So you look for those specific things out there on the sales side. You know what I mean? That you want to relate to, that may or may not help you out. But you don't have to connect to everybody that sends you an invite. That's for sure.
No. Yeah, I had one last night that I declined because it looked like spam. But for me, let's talk about pitch slap, because I actually put that in the description for today's show as well.
Yeah.
What is a pitch slap, and let's and how basically not to do it, because there's two ways to go about it. So for people who don't know, who are watching this morning, or even on the replay, pitch slapping is when you connect with somebody. So I connect with Jeff, and then, like you said, within an hour or even within 5 to 10 minutes, you send a message, a copy and paste message, or even kind of message, hey, you have business? Can I have business? Can I get on that RFP? What are you doing? Can we get on a call? Can we get on a 30-minute call? And that's not the way to go, because that leaves a bad impression for other logistics professionals. We are always talking about leave something on the table for the other person. Just because you do truckload doesn't mean you're going to have all the business. I don't think there's any company, unless you're like a signed 3PL. There's no company out there that's taking 100% of a customer's freight management system. It's just not there. So we all got to work together in unison. And pitch slapping, Jeff, when I first got started with LinkedIn, I did it. I'll be completely honest, because I thought that, hey, this person's finally accepting. They're finally, because there's two ways, right? Let's get to the intricacies of LinkedIn itself. There's connect, and then there's follow. I like to follow. That's my strategy. And I don't like to gatekeep what I do. So what I like to do when I'm looking at a prospect, I like to follow. And then once you hit that follow button, there's a bell at the top right-hand side that basically you can click, and anytime they post, you'll get a notification. So it might be for anything. So then you get to kind of see who's active and who's not. I don't know about you, Jeff, but I find a lot of like logistics managers or people that might be in my ICP, sorry, they're not active on they don't have the time to be active on LinkedIn. They just have it maybe because the company that they work for says that, hey, it would be nice that you kind of promote, and maybe they just share like branded stuff from there. But I think pitch slapping for me is just kind of like a waste of time. I think that it's just like you said, I've got like, and there's some that do it right, because like you never know, right? Recruiters always kind of pitch slap us, but you just never know. I feel like for recruiters, it's a little bit okay, because you never know who's going to be looking for their next gig or anything like that, right? But I want to talk about optimizing your profile for LinkedIn for social selling. I know you have a big belief system on the recommendations, so can you share that with the audience this morning, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, if it's relatable, don't put something in your profile that's not relatable to what you do now. I mean, it's sure it could tell somebody that you were diversified when you first started. You did this, you flipped burgers or whatever like that. But you have to key into what you do and tell a story behind that, because it helps you clarify a lot of things that may be questionable. So it's like I say, like ISO. ISO in layman's term is do what you say what you do, and document it. So if you're going out there and you're putting content out there, back up what you say. So if somebody's questioning, what your capabilities are, if it's in your profile, and then you have your old bosses or clients that wrote a recommendation on it, now things start linking together, and they're like, okay, I get it. But if you don't have those kind of recommendations or references there that can speak to what you're stating, how good is it? I think it's just a waste of time. So it's like content, putting stuff out there, answering comments from fellow associates, friends that are out there, but make it meaningful. Some people just throw content out there for the sake of getting content because they want to increase their impressions. But what are impressions? The way that I look at it, okay, so you have 1 million impressions. What'd you get out of that?
Mhm.
How many clients did you get out of there? It's great to tell a story about who you are on a personal level, but also on a business level, and be able to bring those two together to tell people, hey, this is who I am. There's no, there's no hidden agenda or anything like that. You get what you see and hear and read. So that's what's important to me, and that's why I press that when I talk to a lot of people, because if there are shippers out there, they're going to look for something like that. You know, so I don't know. Again, subjective. A lot of people will disagree with me, and that's fine. But I'm being myself. I'm not trying to paint a different picture than what it is. So
Yeah, and there's a time for like when we're talking about social selling, there's social buying as well. So
yes,
I've seen if you really want to see the hawks come out, Jeff, have a logistics manager post that they need help on a lane or they need a truck or something like that, and then you get every Tom, Dick, and Harry kind of coming in, popping in their email and things like that. And hey, you got to take your shots, right? If it's that's your type of the way that's transactional to me personally. You can't really build a relationship from there. But
no,
when I look at social selling and social buying, I think I just pulled up a stat here that 200 million Instagram users, they visit a product profile at least once a day. So a product that has nothing to do with them that maybe came up in like their sponsored ads or maybe somebody bought it. Like let's say somebody's watching our show and they're like, I really want Jeff's shirt. That's an amazing sweater that he's wearing today. Let me go
it's
check that
pretty
out.
cheap. I'll tell you where to go get it.
Exactly, right? So it's like when people are social selling and you got to kind of build yourself. So we're kind of bringing it back into the mindset of prospecting. Basically, your first week kind of going out there. Some tips that I would kind of make would be like you already got to kind of have your list of like your prospects that you want to go after. Make those connections and figure out a way to add that into your flow. So if you know that you've already called that person, you've gotten a voicemail, kind of put a face to the name. And that's what I am a big believer in, Jeff. Anybody like 25, 30 brokers, asset guys probably contact a logistics manager every single day. I'm just trying to be a face to the name. And that's for me. So if I was pursuing a logistics manager, I add them, they can go look at my stuff and they'll see, hey, Ryan's on Sales Chatter. Ryan likes dogs. Ryan likes this. Ryan like this is Ryan the person. So if we're congruent, then we can work together. And that's what's important. And it's when we get into next week when we talk about getting your first customer and kind of going from that transactional versus long-term customer for life that you always kind of mention as well, when it comes to social buying itself, have you ever purchased something online because you saw an ad, whether it be on LinkedIn or any kind of other social media sites?
Yeah, if something like sparked my interest, sure. Not all the time, because it's like I already have it in my head what I'm looking for. So I'll go on the internet and I'll look at pictures, descriptions, company background. This is for my own personal well-being. If I'm buying something for my car, my home, whatever it might be. Um, and that's what's great about the internet, right? It's very selective. You can go and say, I like the color purple. Now you're going to have all these different hues and all different kinds of stuff purple that you can buy stuff in purple. And now you can go through the painstaking task of picking out what color hue really fits your needs. So it's the same thing with logistics as well. If you can paint a story about yourself, that's why I don't really pitch slap a lot of people. I
Yeah.
am who I am. I promote myself, my brand, my image, whether you like it or not. This is me. And if you want to do business with me, you know how to contact me. If you're doing things right and you get contacted, that's the best kind of communication you're going to have with any prospect. It's like reverse. You're the prospect and they're hunting you
Yep.
to help them. And that's the kind of position that you want to get into. It's like I said all the time, I prefer to work smarter than harder. I don't have to get that quantity, quality over quantity every day of the week. So if you play your cards right, and like I said, like ISO, do what you say what you do, document it, and be able to talk the smack, whatever it might be, on the subject matter. And if you're good at what you do, you have no worries. You have absolutely no worries. And I know a lot of people out there feel the same way.
Yeah, you got no worries. It's the problem-free philosophy, Hakuna Matata from Lion King.
There you go.
We gotta throw that in there. And
Well said.
Jeff, last night I went to my second Toastmasters class in my area, and I was just blown away about like how everybody was there. It was actually a contest night where they had people actually performing speeches that they're actually going to take to an international level. So they're doing a contest with us. They're going over the minutes and understanding. One of the biggest key takeaways that I took away from that was that when they have their speeches and they're preparing, they're not really allowed to ramble. Like they have 5 minutes. And they actually had traffic lights there, which are actually pretty cool. So they would go
Oh,
green
go
lights when
ahead.
you hit. Yeah, it was kind of cool to kind of see. They had when it went green, it was 5 minutes. If it was yellow, it was 5.5. And then I believe when it was red, it's 6 minutes. And you actually get disqualified after that if you hit that red light. And the reason why I bring that up in terms of
How many
social
times did
selling.
you hit the red light? Come on.
Well, no, they had somebody doing that. Nobody actually. They had 10 speeches and nobody got the red light because they knew that they were practicing it. And it comes back to social selling as well.
Mhm.
Practice your pitch. Practice what you're good at. And I'm just kind of was doing some research this morning for today's topic. And one of the top skills is, hey, if you're building your LinkedIn profile, you're building your Instagram, you're building anything, ask for recommendations and skills from people that you already know. So not people that you don't know, people that you've worked with in the past. Hey, do you mind just taking a look at my profile? Can you give me a recommendation or give me or boost one of my skills? Right. And then you get to see all those people because you're looking for credibility. And I think
Yeah.
that's the key context of our episode today in social selling. You want to
Yes.
have credibility. If you've never climbed a mountain, don't say you've climbed Mount Everest. If you've never swam in a pool, do not say you're Michael Phelps. And that's what's truly important. And I
I
think
like
thanks, buddy. It's for amazing there. And then you're looking to kind of extend your network, and that's when you start adding people in and bringing into that conversation. Jeff, let me ask you something kind of off the topic as we're kind of going ad hoc here. You work smarter than harder, and we definitely do appreciate that. If you were to wake up tomorrow morning with no business, nothing, you RGTX Solutions wasn't around the picture, but you had all the knowledge and everything you started, what would you do?
I would do the same thing. I mean, if I still had that knowledge, I would channel that pipeline with everything that I've done in the past. I mean, just it's pretty much what I did, Ryan. I mean, when you think about it, I was not on the sales side. I was on the other side, and then I created my business on a napkin. Everybody knows about that. I still have it someplace today. And, I just procrastinated. And then I pulled the trigger and it was a horror show. It was a complete freaking horror show. 9 grand the first year. Who's going to live on that? Right.
Yeah.
It's that confidence level. You have to be able to fall back on what you really know and then write things down, man. If you're going to move forward, you need a piece of paper and a pencil, writing all your ideas down every single day, and then look at it the next day. And does it make sense? What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? How am I going to push the peanut forward in the most efficient, productive way without wasting my time, boost my revenue up, and go into survival mode? It's survival mode in the beginning for sure.
Yeah.
But once you get over that Mount Everest and you're coming down the backside, everything starts coming right into place. It really does. It comes into place, but it's a hard climb up there. You're going to climb up 3 stairs and fall back 2. I mean, it's going to happen. I don't care who the heck you are. I mean, it's different if you're in the sales position. You've been doing that for 40 years. If you don't have that, you shouldn't have any problems. You should know it like the back of your hand. But people that are new, that are coming in, be prepared to fall, but also be prepared to pick your ass up and keep moving forward if that's what you really want to do.
Yeah, and I love that you say that because everyone kind of thinks that, hey, it's a easy. We kind of you got to remember what's and that's why we're talking about social selling. You got to remember when it comes to social selling, social listening, and social buying, is that everyone's always gonna shine a light on the good stuff. They're not gonna shine a light on, oh my god, I made 10 calls today. 9 told me to f off. 2 went to voicemail. No one's gonna shine. Everyone, and you got to remember that.
But
Don't
why
get
not? But why not? I mean, I got to interrupt you. Why
yeah,
not tell people about your failures? Don't paint a picture that's not true. If people that are jumping into sales understand that you'll have more failure than successes, and you get that in your head and that mindset that, I'm going to stumble a lot, but man, I'm looking for that one win. And all those stumbles, they mean nothing to me. It's like the old adage, you're only as good as the last shipment that you handle, right? You could ship a billion freaking shipments for that customer. One goes astray, they're on the phone. Which one do you think that they remember the most?
Yeah.
The one that screwed up, right?
Yep.
The same thing with the win and losses. Forget about the losses. Think about the win. And that's how you're going to move forward. You want that win. It takes time to get that win, and then you start reflecting. And that's why I'm saying taking notes, what you're doing, how you're saying it, because that's going to save you some time on the back end, because you know how much time it took you and what you did to get that first win. How are you going to reduce that time to make the wins happen quicker and not so many losses? That's why I don't do pitch slapping, because I found it would be a waste of time. What can I take that? Where can I take that time and that energy and focus in on something that I really want and desire and go after it like a lion on a raw piece of meat? That's the mindset you have to have. I want that. I'm going to get it. It's.
Sorry for any vegans that are watching this morning, but we're having fun here, and we're going to be talking about.
Honest.
No, I'm just joking with you, buddy. But I know that we're going to be having that conversation about getting your first wins for next week, and I think I love everything you said, because I've had a shift in mindset, and I know Damon's on, and I want to thank Damon for it. Damon's put me on to Alex Ramosi, the owner of acquisition.com, and I've been consuming his content like nothing other. And Jeff, before the year got started, I started maybe the third or fourth week of December, where I was like, hey, I'm going to have a lifestyle change and make some changes. So I'm like, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. I'm going to get a workout in. I'm going to get my prayer in. I always get my prayer in every day, but do different things before I get to work. And I saw a video of him talking about building sales teams, like high performance sales teams. Like, they are legit. And he's like, people set all these daily routines, even afternoon routines, evening routines, to get away from taking action. So somebody asked him, what is the one thing that you do? What's your morning routine? He's like, I wake up, I drink coffee, and I get to work. And that's the one thing that we kind of need to make for the audience. You got to take that action. So don't get lost in the research. It's so there's so we got analysis paralysis is what they like to call it. You're on a website, you're searching for different things. They're like, 2 minutes. Okay, maybe I'll give them a call at 8 o'clock. Oh no, a minute went by. I'll give them a call at 8:05. It's just that procrastination. And when it comes to social selling, that's why I've kind of limited myself when I social sell, Jeff. I'm only on like LinkedIn maybe for an hour, from 8 to 9 before we kind of start our show. And then for the rest of the day, maybe I'll check in like once or twice, but I don't have LinkedIn open or any kind of social channels. I'm working, I'm prospecting, but that's because the position I'm a seller, right? I'm in that hunter mode. I'm trying to get that piece of meat, from that lion, right? And I think from there. So I actually want to deviate a little bit, because when I was doing this episode, I was like, oh my God, we only got like really 3 episodes to talk, and tomorrow we're going to have a good time talking randomly. Yeah. But I want to talk about video. Video for me, Jeff, has had the biggest return on any prospecting channel I've ever done in my life. And I think it's because of my personality. I think it's the ease of use of using video. I know yourself, you're working with, we had India Brown on a couple times. You were currently doing a little bit of research with her as well.
Yeah. And something that I've been meaning to do. Again, is it pitch slapping? No, I think it's just telling people about who you are and your background in a very short period of time. That tells a very quick story. Am I going to do it? I really want to do it. But I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to be someone that, I'm not, I don't know. I just let my background speak for myself and referrals, references and stuff. I mean, if you have bosses and that you worked for and that gave you a great reference, those are important. That's why, I got to go back to what you say about those references and referrals, not just for myself, which is important, of course, but for you as well. I mean, as an example, the vice president of Panasonic of global logistics gave me a recommendation. That's the kind of stuff that you need, guys. I'm telling you, because that tells a huge story, right? Those are stories that you need for yourself. Those are the connections that you need. Those are the references, the referrals that can tell people out there, this is what he or she did for me. Not from a friend. A friend means nothing. Don't go out to a friend and say, hey, listen, I'm trying to get about 30 referrals and recommendations. Do you mind, like, if I sent you a link, can you fill it out for me? Don't do that, man. Don't. It means nothing. It's just a complete waste of time on both ends. So, it's important to do that. Sorry, I got a little off there, but I had to go back on that because those are very, very important. That's what LinkedIn is all about. Get the story and stay on the storyline. Don't go off the freaking path and say something that you're not capable of doing. Just to get a comment. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what we're talking about for the prospecting for people kind of being brand new, kind of starting. And that's what the theme of what we're talking about. And coming back to video, Jeff, I'll talk about the things that I use, and people, if they are watching and they want to incorporate, they can incorporate. So there's tons of video things out there. There's Vidyard. There is, what is the other one? The other one is Bomb Video, and I use SenseSpark. I had a demo with SenseSpark 2 weeks ago, and I was just impressed, like thoroughly impressed by that demo itself, that I signed up for it. And people think that video is hard. You can get started with scripts. You can get started just for like the overlay of what to kind of say.
Man, don't do the script. Don't.
No. Well, no, we're not talking. Do the script. I say do the script. Do the script for your video, because here's the reason why you're doing the video. You're gonna ramble, just like, no offense, you kind of rambled on there for a bit, and we're talking about video. So a script stays. Yes, exactly. But it was no relevance into video is what we're kind of talking about, right? So it's like having that kind of discipline, and that's what I think is important when you're doing video. Phone calls are a different game, because it's your plane, right? If I'm making a video for you, Jeff, it's just me sending a video to you. There's no really conversation to be had, right? Because you're not going to reply in a video or anything like that. So anyways, coming back to it, I think SenseSpark is a great thing. And just don't be afraid. I've done so many takes every time I do make a mistake or different things like that, and use that a part of your channels to basically boost your credibility and your image and your brand. Is the top 3 things we always talk about, Jeff. You got comfortable. I want to talk a little bit about video, because video is not just going to be about video you're saying to customers. We're doing a video podcast right now. When did you get? Have you been a year yet on Sales Chatter? So as I think Jeff's internet is kind of going out a little bit here. But with that being said, it was kind of funny, right? It was like, I asked that question and they paused. I was like,
I'm not a techie.
But coming back to it, Jeff, how long have you been on Sales Chatter doing this video podcast?
A long time. And, I really enjoy it. Think I don't have that introvert personality, or I wouldn't be doing this, I don't know. I find this part more for others than myself or yourself. Just helping people out, and I enjoy it a lot, man. Yeah, Rob, you're right. It was perfect. Here's what I'm not. I'm not a techie. All right. Yeah, I enjoy this a lot, and now co-hosting Hold My Beer. That's been out there a very, very long time, as you well know. And it's great that I have this ability. This part of logistics we didn't have way back when. We didn't have the cell phones, we didn't have the TMS, we didn't have all this type of techie stuff to communicate with each other, so what better way to share knowledge and be able to help people? That's one of the reasons why I do this mostly, is for others, not myself, because if I can help somebody, think, about something differently, then I've done my job. Does it help with myself too? Yeah, because let's face it, it also helps our credibility too, because people are going to be like, who the hell is this guy? Who's that guy? They look at your profile, and then it tells a story like, okay, he's legit, or that guy's full of shit, Yeah. It's the 2 ways you're going to do it. So if you're going to do something and say something, you better be damn prepared to back that up. That's all I have to say. Just don't go and do stuff like this for the hell of it. That's not meaningful.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I help folks out there. Hopefully, I give you a little bit of thought.
Yeah, and you kind of want to reverse engineer it when people are looking at things, and you're like you said, it's great for our credibility as well. And I love being able to do something like this, and just talking for
Yes,
like the newer people coming into it. Video is not scary, do
it's
the
not.
practice, like be comfortable with the uncomfortable, and you're going to be uncomfortable with those sales calls. You're going to be uncomfortable with those emails. You're going to be uncomfortable with social selling. You're going to be uncomfortable with video. You might not even know the industry yet, if it was kind of somebody brand new, but
So,
be a student always. Like I think I saw a post this morning of someone who's actually offering training, and some people would think like, oh, like Ryan's been at his current place for almost 4 years now, he doesn't need it. But hey, I'm always looking to develop my skills. That's why I did the Toastmaster stuff. That's why I'm always kind of looking to benefit myself. I learn a different skill every single day on Skillshare, that website that does different courses and things like that, because there's no finish line, whether it be for your learning,
that's what I
whether
say
it be
all the time, man.
exactly. That's I was segueing into that for you,
I
so
know that is so true. And let's put it this way: I'm almost 40 years into this business, and I still have tremendous amount of energy and drive as I did when I was 20 years old. And I just love seeing the content out there, and I see up and coming people that are in the industry. And it's so great that a lot of people are starting to understand the industry and the complexity of it, and that they're taking the certain steps to correct those problems. We need more of that, people out there. We really, really do. And you know who you are, whoever's watching this. I mean, keep it up, keep doing a great job. Learn every single day. And I learn from you as well. Just because I'm the old man on the campus doesn't mean anything. I surely don't know everything. I try to keep into my lane, and I try to give people an understanding of the evolution of logistics, where we were,
yep.
where we are now, where we need to be. And the next generation is the ones that are going to take us to that next horizon, that next level, whether it's AI or whatever it may be. It may come to fruition, it may not. Look at those what if scenarios and figure it out. Is this applicable? Is this going to work? Am I putting the cart before the horse? Or do I need to build that infrastructure? There's so much things to be thinking about daily in this industry. It could drive you crazy. I've been doing it for 40 years, doing that every single day, thinking of new ways to combat problems. And I keep on pushing out there. Think of the what ifs, folks, every day. So
Every
you
single
are
day.
prepared for the inevitable when it does happen.
Yeah, because we're in a constant evolution, like this industry's evolution. And one thing you said previously, where you said that, hey, what did you say? It just kind of slipped my mind. But yeah, things were different. Like we didn't have like these social media sites. When I worked at my first job, Jeff, I was doing a 50 to 60K monthly GP book, and I never met a customer. Like I've never met a customer. I didn't have LinkedIn. I didn't have anything. And there's success either ways. Now it's just, why not? If you have free tools to, or even if you got to pay for it, if you have tools to give you exposure to somebody, to open a door that you would have always thought that is closed, why wouldn't you want to take that? Right. And you're
I
doing it
would.
with integrity, like, why wouldn't you? Like, there's so many, like, for me, I'll tell a quick story about this, but I won't name the prospect. But there's a certain prospect that, so when I prospect, Jeff, I got the prospects that I go after, and then I have maybe like 5 or 10 dream customers that I would just kind of like to put on Ryan's resume when Ryan's day's done. So things like Nike, things like Disney, things like those big guys, right? So anyways, we use the lead gen, we use Zoom info. I got the contact for one of those companies, and I literally just put on one of their hats, one of their sweaters, made a video to them, and we progressed through that. And it was like, if I was to make that call, first of all, I wouldn't know who to get to. I probably would have been looped around, wouldn't gotten to the right
Sure.
person. And if I tried to go on LinkedIn, it's gonna be pretty protected. So I think we talk about football a lot. You got to take those shots down the field. Like, you want to get the 1st and 10, but you should take some shots down the field, because you just never know when you're gonna hit a touchdown.
Absolutely. My thought process, and it's been like that for a very long time, and I took those challenges, is go big or go home.
Yes.
Why go for the little stuff, man? Go for it, man. Go for something big. That's why I'm not transactional. I look at the big projects. That's where I excel. Everybody has their own thing, subjective, right?
Mhm.
So to your point, throw that pass down there, man. Throw that 80-yarder, go for the touchdown, but always think about the big picture. Don't look at the small little stuff that's in front of you right now and looking at those. Anybody can cherry pick, can pull those low-lying fruits. It's the challenges of the higher fruits where you have to climb up the freaking tree, break a few branches, fall off the damn ladder. But is it going to be worth the climb to get to that, to cut that time down? That's why I keep on saying it. My experience tells me that it's just a waste of time in the long run, to go for those low-lying fruits, because you're going to be picking 1,000 of them before you hit that golden apple. Just go for the freaking golden apple, man. But get rid of the freaking low-lying fruits. If you're good at what you do and you have that confidence and that drive and that determination, go for that gold fruit, man. Don't go for the little stuff. It's not working.
And just back onto that point, to always be ready to recover that fumble as well and take it down the yard
Absolutely.
as well. So always
you will fumble, but keep
and somebody else will fumble.
Man, keep your eye on the.
Somebody else will fumble as well. And I think like even
in the rough.
Exactly. And you just never know. And I think for people making, because I know a lot of our viewers are brand new, like do it. Figure out, get the experience of everything that's going on. Even if you got to hang on to those small guys at the beginning, just to understand what a load looks like, to understand what pickup and delivery receivers look like, get the experience. And that's what we're trying to give you guys with the social selling and the video. So with that being said, we've had an amazing episode. Any kind of final thoughts this morning, Jeff?
No, I think it was a good episode. Hopefully, what we discussed is relatable, that you kind of have a better understanding and other options that you can choose from. Again, there's no really right method or that you have to do this. It's very subjective. We're just trying to give you different paths to follow, and whatever, suits your needs and fits your bucket of what you want to do in life and in business. Choose wisely. As Rocco would say, you only have two choices, right? And you got to live by the choice you make. So, no regrets. Just do what you need to do.
Beautiful. So if you found value in this video, which I'm sure you did, a lot of value this week that we've given out, please send this to somebody, or please like, comment, subscribe, even hit us with a DM. Let us know what you like and what you possibly didn't like, and then we'll always be able to kind of rectify that for you. And we're always kind of grateful to get these messages, and we're always available. And that's the one thing I have constantly said, that I don't gatekeep what I use. I'm showing my integrity. So whatever you guys want to know, let me know. Same thing with Jeff. We're always available. With that being said, we'll hit the replay at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern time on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow as we put up our feet. We don't call it Friday wins and losses anymore. We call it Friday margaritas and talk smack, So I will figure out how to one out. But everybody, take care. Have an amazing day.
Have a great day.